Morning, y'all. Um, decided to try styling my hair a little because it don't move, but like I actually have a picture of me with like, well, it wasn't braids, they were twisties, but my friend at the time had styled them because they could stick straight up. Um, they had styled them kind of like a fish or a whale tail, just up like that. But now I could do it with my natural hair, and that is a crazy achievement. But yeah, um, on to my next sewing project. It's literally, I'm working off of the same dress. This is all one singular dress that I have taken the parts of. Technically, the dress came with two parts of it. It had this slip, this dark purple slip underneath, and then it was like the old matronly dress um, that I have now turned into two different tops. um, and now I'm turning the slip because I okay, so it's like tight. It fits me as in the way of like I could put it on and take it off easily or without much trouble. But like it's really tight. And so then I like turned the top part of it into like a little skirt. And I was just like, this looks so much cuter as a mini skirt. So that's what I'm working on right now. Um, and of course, still no sewing machine, so everything is being hand sewn. And therefore, it is going to be crooked as all hell. But I do have a plan. And I was thinking, okay, once I cut this, how am I going to make sure it stays on my body? Because, like, it's one thing to have it folded over and like have that bulk there so that it stays and the tightness stay keeping it, but like how do I make sure that that tightness is there? And then I remember this pack comes with this kit. There we go. Sewing kit comes with clasps, and there were also the clasps that I had taken off. There are also the clasps that I had taken off from the shirt portion because like the dress, the slip that was underneath was able to clip into it. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, so I'm just gonna sew that into like the front part, and hopefully that makes it work. I don't know what I'm doing, so this is all gonna be trial and error. I'm still gonna wear it, because what's the point? And plus, this is just me. This is a learning curves, right? This is me learning because I also wanted to turn the dress that it's from into a skirt, into a mini skirt, but like use the pleats because it's a pleated dress. Use the pleats, but I also don't really know how to get it to my size kind of thing because it is just a large rectangle of like pleated fabric and whew, right. So we still friends. But yeah, because I have put out so many videos this week, I don't think I'm going to do one tomorrow, which is Sunday. I record and post these the same day. You can tell because they aren't edited. I really do just like I just rotate it and save it all together and then upload it. That's just that's how I do things because I don't know. I don't feel the need to edit it, and if I start editing the videos like I did before, then I'll feel like it is an obligation, which makes me anxious. And I want to continue making videos because, like, what really delays me from like or stops me from doing things. Again, I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, but like what stops me from doing things is this perfectionism of like if I start editing the video, then I'm going to have to edit it every single time, make sure that it's perfect, and stuff like that, and cut out every tweet silence, everything that feels awkward and stuff like that. And then I just get really overwhelmed, and because I get overwhelmed with just the thought of like doing all that work after I have already done it. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this every single time, right? After I get overwhelmed, it takes me a lot longer to even want to record a video. But in doing it this way, where I just press the button, record, and then slap them together and post, it takes so much strain off because I don't actually have to like think about what's going out. Like, yeah, sure, maybe in later days when I'm not gonna say when I care more, but like when I want to put even more care into it, um, and instead of recording on my phone, actually record on a separate device that has enough space for me to record and edit, and then post it through my laptop instead. Um, then I'll add in some other stuff because then it would be like a more comfortable way to edit, and I could be as particular as I want because there are limitations to a phone. First of all, I would have to get an app to edit. I would have to get an app to edit, and then I also have big fingers because I'm a big girl, and it's hard to get like, yeah, sure, you could like use your fingers to zoom, but it's kind of hard to get like as specific as I want because I am a very like particular person, and it's mostly because of my particularities that I it takes me longer to do pieces. Like I put that like my favorite part of the characters that I have posted on my TikTok, my most recent ones, are drawing the sins themselves. Um, I could probably add like pictures. But like they were the most fun part of for me because like that was really just what I do traditionally, which is I just scribble for the most part whenever I'm feeling something. Um, and like it was all it felt the most like traditional, like how I do traditional stuff, which is like a single color or just penciling in and then using the eraser as like shading. Like that is, I feel like people would be like, oh, then you would make a really good like charcoal artist. I've tried charcoal. I have, and it's like when you're a charcoal artist, it is kind of more like painting. It's kind of like oil pastels, where it's like a mixture of painting and drawing. I just, I just really like working with pencil. Um, Either pencil or a nice juicy dark pen, which is again, I'm like, I haven't used it in a while, but there's this pen that I had gotten from a social worker. um, and no clue where she got the pen from. No clue where she got the pen from. But like, it's almost out of ink, but it's my favorite pen that I've used in years. Oh my gosh. And it reminds me, honestly, it reminds me of this time. I've always had this thing where once I find a pen, I'm like, oh my god, I'm in love with this pen. I love this pen so much, and then I lose it. Because it reminds me specifically of this one time. I used to have this five ruled um that's honestly my favorite type of notebooks because five subject, there we go, and the spiral ones with five subjects, meaning that they have like folders in between. um those are my favorite notebooks to use, absolute favorite. um but I used to have one of those, and I would write stories in them. I would like go to the back of the notebook and start writing a story, which is, I still do that. Go to the back of the notebook and do stuff. Um, but there was a part where I was literally writing a story. I forget entirely what the story is, and I'm pretty sure that notebook has been thrown away. But I had this one pen that I always used to write it, and then I lost the pen. And I know exactly what brand it was because it was on the pen. And so I just named the pen Mister. And then the name of the place that made it was a Signa. It was a Signa pen, Cigna, and so I called it Mister Signa. And then I lost the pen, and it was such a nice shape too. Like, I forget what grade it was. Um, Honestly, I think it was high school where they said that we had to use pens. Um, in most of our subjects to get used to like using a pen. But it was sometime back in middle school where I had swapped over to using a pen more often than a pencil. Um, and because like we didn't have really anything at home. Wow. Sometimes going back through and just thinking that, and like trying to explain it, it's just like, oh wow, yeah, I really, wow, there was no like enrichment for me at home. Um, Not funny, but like I would choose it to laugh. Um, but yeah, barely any color pencils. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my my parents were the type of people who told us, who were like, don't take any handouts and stuff like that. They were those kind of people. Don't take any kind of handouts and pull yourself by the bootstraps. And yet, at every turn, they were relying on other people to give them handouts, or at least my mom was. But yeah, it's just you know the hypocrisy, right? So I grew up thinking and feeling like I had to do all this on my own and stuff like that. And I mostly did do my stuff all on my own. Um, like I never asked for help on homework or anything. I never really asked for anything in general. um, but yeah, we didn't really have color pencils and crayons that often, and I didn't have like a lot of toys. So those two are connected. I'm not gonna explain why right now, but anyway, I had gotten really good at using a pencil to draw, and though my handwriting is pretty illegible sometimes because my mind works much faster than my hands do. Um, where was I going? My handwriting is illegible. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I already didn't really like having to erase or use an eraser to erase in my writing. So switching over to a pen was pretty easy for me because I usually just scribbled out my mistakes anyway. Um, but I did like using mechanical pencils more for drawing than I did writing because for writing it's too soft. But like mechanical pencils, the I always use what's this, point 0.7? Yeah, I always use point 0.7. Anything larger than point 0.7 is too big, and the point 0.5 was it? Anyway, I have used like smaller leads, and I was just like, this doesn't feel because I press hard, I push hard. Um, so like I need something to like handle the amount of pressure I put into my stuff. Yeah, but I just like I prefer pencil when sketching or trying to get an idea across, but I really like dark black pens when sketching as well. But those ones are more of like a challenge where this is an emotion drawing rather than trying to get an idea or a concept out because you can't erase with pen. All you got to do is refine, and that's why you see with sorry, I'm looking at my altar and the sticky notes up there that I've shown you guys before. Um, but that's why you see that it's all like scribbled and like the shading because it forces me to shade and refine through the shading. What I'm saying is that me drawing the seven deadly sins is it feels very akin to drawing with a pen where sure I was able to erase once I got the shape out, but drawing with drawing digitally, I haven't been able to find an equivalent for a pencil. I've tried like spray paint brushes. I've even tried like the pencil brushes, but nothing like really feels or has that look that I like of a pencil. Um so I just think of it as like a pen or a paintbrush, right? It's digital paintings, right? Um but yeah. But I had created an entire like short little tidbit comic, which is something that I also used to do a lot growing up, or at least when I got a little bit older. Nope, I used to do a lot growing up because I used to have like my earliest slash first ever comic was these three friends, and they've kind of like aged up with me. I haven't like drawn or referenced them in ages, but it was when I first learned how to draw a cube, right? And there's this I think Christian, it might be Christian, I don't know, but there's this channel. Um, there was this TV channel called Cubo with a Q, Qubo. Um, and so I ended up having a character with a head cube head, with a cube head, and like other people with cube heads. It was him and his two friends, Francesca and Doppy, and Cubo was like I don't know the cool kid, the main character type. He was the main character for the main character's sake. Francesca, just because at the time you need a girl, um, and then Doppy was the Eeyore type, where it's just so sad. Not necessarily sad, but like he's like the scaredy cat, like the one everything happens to, the comedic relief, that kind of character. That's who Doppy was. And then like in middle school when I got older, again, I had drawn that really, really young. In middle school I had drawn them again because I was just like, oh my god, I haven't drawn these people since kindergarten. Let me let me like try to age them up now and see what happens and stuff like that. And that was more with like, cuz middle school fashion. It was like what, early 2010s was when I was in middle school. So like around, if I graduated high school in 2020, so like eighth grade was 2016, 2015, 2016. So yeah, I probably drew them like again 2015 around that time. But like, so it was the fashion of that time. And I was just like, okay, so this is them in their team selves. And like in the headcanon, because it's my story. I haven't written their comics in literal years. I was just like, if I were to age them up, I feel like Cubo and Francesca. I also never learned how to spell Francesca. It was one of those, oh, sound it out. I could not sound out Francesca. So her name probably like shifted around, but I remember that I knew her name was Francesca, right? And her nickname was Franny, which is such an old name, right? But anyway, um and I already had this thought when I was a kid where it was just like them two like still had like a little crush on each other and they stayed in contact. But Doppy for some reason disappeared for some time and then came back, and he was suddenly a very cool kid. They were like, whoa, Doppy. But yeah, um, for some reason, love the name Doppy, Doppy. I had a Webkins. I had gotten it for my birthday when I was way, way young. It was like, yeah, it was a panda, which is my favorite animal, so I loved it even more. Um, and because Webkins, when you have a Webkins, you can create an account for it, and I named my Webkins Doppy. So every single time I have a character, or original character, or like a series of characters, I do have a main character, but I also have a favorite character. And usually the main character is not the favorite. It's like I like the main character as a person. There's a reason why they're the main character, but there's something about this sad sack of a person that I just like. Usually from my own characters, my favorite tends to be a girl failure, where just, I don't know how else to explain it. Just they are cool. Just so very awkward. So very awkward. Um, and how they go about it. Okay. Whew. Sorry, I just got hit with like a wave of just tired. Tired. Um, which is usually a good sign. Or at least I'm now trying to see it as a good sign. Um, I think this is a sign I should end the video. Um, I might honestly just fall asleep. Uh, I got, if you guys are measuring or keeping track of, first of all, how often I say it, but like my sleep schedule for me, I got 7 hours of sleep. I fell asleep a little bit after 12, just a little bit after 12, and I woke up after 7, almost 8. It is currently 9, almost 10. So I've been up for a little bit. Um, I'm getting the feeling that I should just like lay down, close my eyes, listen to this music. I've been listening to my Nothing Between Us playlist while doing this, and cause I felt called to. I'll just say that. But before this video runs out of time, so I don't have to start a new one. Thank you for watching this video. Uh, if you liked it, leave a like, I guess. If you didn't, leave a comment as to why you didn't, and I'll make sure to read it and not change a single thing. But anyway, if you watch all the way to the end, I love you and goodbye.